Hello, friends. Welcome back to Actual Play, Traveler Moons of Leviathan. We started off doing space piracy, and now we're dealing with psychic lions, psychic tigers. So you never know with this game. Every session, it's like it's like The Good Place, right? That show was just very, very brave in just changing its direction all the time, and that is what we do as well. We're planning to find out. I'm here with my space rations, including jerked meat and dried seaweed. I think this is what kind of things we might be supping on as we're stopping to take a little rest, a food break. We both succumbing to our hunger. Maybe
Yeah,
the seaweed just tastes like ash in our mouth, and we devour the jerk meat instantly.
sounds good. I
Joe,
am.
I feel like there's a custom move um, on the horizon here. Something to do with when you enter the domain of the psychic tigers of Messina.
Mm,
Roll plus weird if there was a weird stat,
right.
um, or maybe just when you try to reach out, because I feel like this is a scenario that Alexi is just 100% unprepared for,
Yeah.
and I want to talk to my sword because maybe an AI knows something about psychic tigers. Um, or maybe it's instantaneous and we just need to roll the move and see what happens. But
Yeah, I feel like I need.
uh, this it feels like this is an open your brain kind of move
It
to
does. It totally does. And I feel like in order to do that, I need to look at. I mean, because the thing that we said gives you access to new moves is technology,
hmm
and the sword is straight up technology.
exactly.
So I think I love the idea of opening up your brain a little bit. Um,
Because our
once
understanding of I would say that the wielder of the sword can communicate with it in some sort of in some sort of nonverbal fashion
Cool.
that we understand as being photonic transference. That's what I'm calling it because I like it and I just made it up. And the idea is that the sword can actually read brain waves and send brain waves to you. We don't. I don't think that it's considered a magical thing. I think it's considered a technological solution. Whether or not that's how the tigers communicate or not, but photonic transference. And I think it allows you to sort of share a illusory space that you can communicate in. And that kind of makes me think of the way the ancestors are kept as well. That they're like holographic, and I think that it uses some sort of holographic technology to sort of like implant visuals
Yeah.
implant sense data. Um, yeah, so I think what happens is like just because I have these props, right? Like Alexi like tries to eat the seaweed and spits it out. It's just gross. Takes a little bit of jerky, a tiny bit of jerky, and just like devours it and wants more. Feels this like overwhelming him. Doesn't know what's going on. Has this horrible headache, and looks to his side and says, uh, and says, "Fenya, I need you to guard me. Make sure that I need you to stand watch. And I don't know whether you need to guard. I need you to stand watch both for people who might attack and for what happens to me. Don't get too like I wanted to watch me too because I don't know, I might need to get tackled or have the sword knocked out of my hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say, if you thought drinking water from the Duke's River was illegal, I don't think to this point I've revealed that I have the true sword. I just got this hilt, and I sort of, I think I've wrapped it with some stuff to like make it look more piratey. I've got some wraps around the hilts and sort of disguising it, and it just stayed in its scabbard until
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Um, and I say, if we make it out of this, please do me a favor and don't tell Klaus I have this. And I pull out this blade and fire it.
Awesome. Awesome. Uh, yeah, I think from what I'm gathering from what you just said, it talks to your brain, but it doesn't really talk. It just like it kind of like feeds you symbols. Am I getting? Does that sound right? Can you hear me? What's going on?
Oh, I muted myself because I was eating, and then I forgot to unmute. So I was just been watching DS9, and I was thinking about the way the prophets sort of talk when you go through the wormhole, and they kind of like present you different people that are familiar to you, and they
Oh,
speak in their
interesting.
voices.
Oh,
We
interesting.
don't have to do that at all. But I was imagining sort of suddenly things I think would be cool. One, you're sort of mentally transported to another space. You don't see the world around you. You see some
Yep.
new environs.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
two, the communication is not like, hey, I'm just talking to a person. It's like, it could be symbols. It could be person, but it's different people. They could speak cryptically. I don't know. That's how I
Yeah.
envision.
Cool. So, yeah, you go into this trance, and you are in you're back on Ithaca Station, or an image of Ithaca Station in your
Mm-hmm.
brain, and there are three people standing in front of you. They look gaunt. They are dressed in white and gray, and they have symbols on their chests. I think one has a red glowing psi symbol that's kind of blinking. One
Scythe, like a
what
sickle, Scythe.
PSI,
Yes. Okay.
yeah, like the beginning of psionic.
Right.
Um, and also like what Apocalypse World uses for like psionic damage
Yeah.
in its documents. And so that's one person. I don't think you recognize them
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think you ever trained with that stuff. I think then there's another who was your sword master when you were growing up, and she has just a sword. I think that is like it's red, but it's not blinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a third who is one of your teachers at school, and like uh, you know taught you like basic biology and basic computer use and information gathering, and they have a a tiger's eye that's in blue. What do you do?
Um, I think, yeah. Insert Alexei being confused, right? Because
Yeah,
he's never done this before,
yeah,
or if he's done it before. It's not. We haven't seen it on screen, right? This is always a novel experience. So Alexei is looking around, trying to get his bearing, and then he looks to his old teacher, he looks to his old teacher with the tiger's eye in blue, who taught him about biology, and that's sort of what he remembers. It's like, and he says. He knows this isn't his teacher though, so he doesn't refer to them as, even though like
yeah.
that's what they look like. He looks to them and says, "There's something. Uh, there's another presence in my mind, and I need to. There's another presence in my mind, and I don't know what it is. Can, can you help me find it? Can you help me communicate with it? Can,
You
I
are,
sense it. I sense it wants to hurt me."
yeah. So I think a funny thing happens. I think you said like something's in my mind, and so like, but you're talking to the teacher, And so like
Mhm.
the Psy and the claw the tiger's eye both step forward, and they both kind of start talking at the same time. Um, but I think the tiger talks over the Psy, and
Mhm.
like the Psy looks like almost like put off, like I can't, you know, you know,
Talking in your domain should be my domain. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and the your old tutor says you are currently being stalked by uh, a small pride of psychic tigers. They are doing their first psychic probes to ascertain how easy you will be to capture and eat. Do you have any further questions for me?
Yes. I feel like maybe if they're like it, that sounded dismissive, right? Like I'm
Right.
done now. So so as perhaps not to offend the Psy, I say I turn to them and I say how could I persuade them that I'm not worth their efforts, worth their while?
You currently have an alien presence uh, laying siege to your mind. As my colleague mentioned, these are psychic tigers. They are making their first forays, scouting in terms that you can understand,
Mm.
using psychic powers. Uh, the true sword of Ithaca Station does afford you access to psionic countermeasures if you would like to access them.
I think like Sean's like, yeah, let's do it. But I think Alexi is like, whoa, shit. I've heard that there's a reason why you didn't train Versailles. You know, he
Yeah,
heard this shit was when you start doing things in your brain. I think there are horror stories of people who didn't came out of it horribly. Of course, there are horror stories of people who fight fires. There's horror stories of people who pilot jets. I mean, everything has occupational hazards, but psionic abilities have occupational hazards that Alexi has always uh, have always terrified Alexi.
yeah.
And so he says, I have no training. I have no psychic training. Can you guide me to use these countermeasures to activate them?
I can, yes. However, because of your lack of training, the danger is increased.
I understand. I think it's better to make. I guess I better learn quickly. It's good that I'm a jack of all trades. Yeah. I say. I say, show me the way, and I will. I won't forget this. I will. I will endeavor to. This is going to be a trial by fire, but I will endeavor to return and learn this. Uh, and learn this someday. I think I sort of like an offer up, like I'm not going to take this for granted. I feel like this is a little bit like when people like I think they're gonna die and they turn to religion. Like, please God, I know I have never said I think you exist, but like please save me right now. It's Alexi's a little bit having one of these moments. Like, I will learn your tenets if you just help me,
Yeah,
right
I
now.
will. I will learn psionics like Dad wanted me to. Yeah,
Yes.
if you just let me get through this,
Mhm.
sounds good. Uh, so I think this is actually something that, and we've talked about this a little bit of the possibility of something like this. I think this is something that Jack of all trades doesn't cover.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so I think you're going to be rolling at a -1,
Got it.
and you are rolling the move.
Is this confront someone?
Um,
Does that feel right? I'm trying to show the tigers that we're not easy prey. I'm trying to say, like,
got it.
hey, I got psychic powers too. Like, if you're hunting me in this like, most people don't have any psychic powers. They're completely
Yeah,
vulnerable.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm only one person, but I want to convince them that the 6 humans behind me have no psychic powers. And although they have guns and void armor and all this other stuff, they can't fend off these psychic assaults, whereas I can. So,
Yeah.
I feel like that's right, or open your brain. I don't know, but like either one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think like so. I think you like are scrolling through like your possibilities, right? And you're like deep brain scan, no. In brain puppet strings, no. Mesmerize me, whisper, no. The Maelstrom manifest, no. But the Maelstrom was probably like the Leviathan manifest, right? And
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
no, no,
no,
no, not
definitely
that.
no.
And yeah, and I think you just are like, I just want to communicate with the tigers and let them know that like, hey, I'm not easy prey, which I think
Yeah,
is, it's just like, when you know, what they tell you to do if make noise if a bear comes into camp. It's kind of
right,
like
right.
you're doing the psionic version of that.
Yeah,
Um,
I asked the Psy to teach me how to growl in Psionic.
cool. Yeah, roll -1.
Awesome. Here we go. Can't go wrong with a 3.
Cool. Um,
Man, these dice. If we were playing a game that gave you XP on failed rolls, I would have had so many damn advances at this point.
yeah, yeah, you would have.
But it makes
Um,
absolute sense. This is completely his first time into doing this.
cool. Um, you have you reach out to the tigers and you hear them roar in return, and the roar, like, the awesome sound engineers for this TV show that we're watching in our heads, the roar screeches out into like a digital, scream.
Right, like when
And
Neo is going into the Matrix for the first
totally
time.
that. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. And you hear um you hear Fenya, and you hear voices that you don't know, and then the screeching becomes a beep, and then it becomes another beep, and then it's like thousands of these beeps, and by the time you get conscious, you are in restraints in a hospital bed, and you just have like you have no idea how long you've been there, and you have no idea what happened.
um, I think I like scream like a guttural, like the end of that growl that I started. It kind of comes
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I try to bolt up in bed, and I like that's how I figure out I'm in restraints because I
yep,
bolt up and
yep,
they go taut, and yeah, I try to get my look around, try to get my calibration. The first thing I sort of like, and I call out to Fenya because she was with me last, and Fenya, and it's kind of guttural, like harsh, like my throat's dry,
yep,
and
yep.
uh, and yeah, and then I a little bit like a caged animal. I think I like shake and pull at the restraints and see if I can get see if I can. I don't think I can break them, but like I think I'm gonna try, do
Yeah,
the like, test them, and then yeah,
like as you're testing them, a nurse bot comes in and offers you a straw and says, "Would you like some water? Your throat is reading you're reading dehydrated." And I think it's
I
like just kind of like the white like it looks like it was made by a similar engineer as your old guard droids back at the station, right?
yeah.
Um, and but it's like it's holding out a sippy cup.
Yeah, I don't drink it at first. I say, where am I? Where is this? Where? Yeah, I try to ascertain the very basics.
You will
I don't know.
understand the information that I'm able to give you if better if you are hydrated. Would you like a drink?
And I think I take like the most aggressive, like just
Yeah,
like which is not what you should do when
yeah,
you're dehydrated. But
right, right.
yeah.
And I
But
think like
I'm really
realizing,
caught off guard right now. Yeah.
yeah, realizing what you're doing, it like before you can overdo it, the nurse bot pulls back and then says, "This is what I'm legally able to tell you. You are in a hospital in the city of Savoca. You had a seizure brought on by untrained psionic activity. You are being held under ducal decree."
Um, my I was about to ask like why am I being restrained, but then when the bot says you're being held under ducal decree, um, I say is my it was with a companion. Are they here as well?
I am not authorized to give you that information.
Takes Lex a minute to like re-engage his like he's sort of I don't think he realized how much he enjoyed not being in a bureaucracy
Right.
until he's back in one
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
is like, oh god, this shit. Right? There was war time where there was lots of rank calling and all this stuff, but there was also a lot of camaraderie. There was this recent months that he spent with the pirates where it was really communal, and now he's like, we're back to this bullshit.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and he just lets out a sigh and he goes, "Do I have an advocate who I can speak with?" An advocate being, someone who can speak
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. Yeah,
definitively.
yeah. You want to lawyer the fuck up.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I mean, this nurse bot can't tell me anything.
right. Uh, they say, an advocate has been assigned and will be here when you are done healing. Right now, the stress of such an interaction could uh, make the damage in your brain worse. I know this is going to be very difficult for you to understand and to even more difficult to do, but I need you to find a way to access relaxation. Is there something I can do to help you do this?
Um, there's a lot of information that Alexei doesn't have that knowing would put him at ease, but I don't think it would relax him.
Right,
Um, he's like, give me the update on what's going on in Ithaca Station, right?
right.
Uh, how does the Marquis fare? And I'm guessing that that's probably all a prohibited, like information that can't be shared, and b any nurse bot worth its programming, worth its code knows that that's actually not going to be
Yeah,
relaxing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even if it's satisfying, it won't be
And
relaxing.
I think like the information it gives you about Ithaca Station is very bland. It just like it gives you like the Wikipedia entry on Ithaca Station and who the Marquis is, and their political status at the moment.
Yeah. Is it my brother?
It
Is that the
is, yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah. That like, yeah. I think like the fact that he's under a vote of no confidence and that there's like an issue, which I think you already knew,
Right.
is mentioned,
Yeah.
but
But at least
says
he hasn't been deposed yet.
right,
Or this article is out of date,
right,
but I think
yeah,
that there's some bit of again, not relaxation but relief. And then once he's heard that, yeah, I think it's like a play me this artist, and there's some
oh, awesome, yeah.
some future classical music that
Yeah, 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 yeah.
is being played.
Some a cello starts playing. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Cool, cool. Uh that sounds great. Um Yeah. I feel like we're an hour and 40 in. I'm tempted
Hmm.
to end there and like start here in 2 weeks.
That sounds good. That
I think this is
feels,
kind of interesting. And also it's the first game I've been back in a while, and I don't necessarily want to run a marathon tonight
yeah,
when I'm a little bit out of shape with it. Uh, and so, yeah, I think this might be a cool place to kind of come to a, I feel like we've altered Alexi's situation enough that we've got an interesting start for next time.
absolutely.
And I
Alexi's
would,
going to meet his advocate, maybe find out what happens to Fenya, figure out if where the sword is. There's lots of like juicy
yeah,
what's next moments, and
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
love to
yeah,
give ourselves next session to figure those out, and also like all the stuff about you know his using untrained psychic abilities and why he's being held. If is it the high psychic abilities? Oh yeah, tons of fun
yeah.
stuff. So yeah,
Cool.
let's find that out next time. Um,
Awesome.
and yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. This has been, as always, Judd, just a blast playing games
Yeah,
with
no,
you.
I mean, I feel like, wow, the moves sure did snowball like they're like advertised.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that was a lot of snowballing. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Think about the things that you made up in this session, Judd. You've got Savoca, the Dome City of
Yeah,
Messina. You've got the Blue Jungles. You've got the Psychic Tigers. You've got the three entities in the True AI sword.
yeah.
I think I came up with photonic transference in the way we communicate, and
You came up
hmm.
with the you added to my like the ship is a sphere
Oh
and
yeah,
made it
yeah. We
and
built the ship
actually
together.
fleshed it out
Yeah,
because I was like it's a sphere. I don't know. Like if I want to make something really high tech and I'm like I don't know, I'm like it's a sphere or a cube. I don't like it's just it's so simple that your dumb human brain can't fucking understand it.
yeah,
Just deal with it. Anyway, I think I'm being a negative Ned tonight. I gotta watch it. Thank you. I'm glad that we made up stuff that was fun for you and that you
yeah.
liked
We
it.
did.
I definitely did too. And you are a part. You were right here with me making shit up. So don't even. Matter of fact, there was something you made up that I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. I think that's my job, but cool that you did it. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Don't.
I think we did. I think we did very cool stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and yeah,
yeah,
and now it's uh, yeah, in the jungles of Messina, in the dome city of Savoca, will Alexei? You know what this show needs, and if I ever if I convert this to MP3, I will add these
yeah,
in because
yeah,
then I'll have the like the time to think about it. But at the end of there's an old timey radio show that's actually a modern one, but it's called Thrilling Adventure Hour. They've kind of retired, kind of stopped, but they still have the reunions constantly. So it's like, is it over? Is it not? And they had one called Sparks Nevada, Marshall on Mars, and it's about this marshal who has a Martian companion named Croach, and they go and right wrongs on the red plains of Mars,
oh, that sounds
and
amazing.
it's great. And at the end of every single episode, it's like, will Sparks Nevada be devoured by the alien space goo? Find out next time on Literally Mature. And I just feel like this is like, will Alexei be tried and punished for his psychic crimes?
Right,
Find out
right.
next time
Yeah.
on Traveler Moves the Left. Because I feel like every episode we end with some like weird, you know, uh,
It definitely like I feel like the show the vibe of the setting is somewhere between Dune and like Alex Raymond Flash Gordon comics.
yeah.
And we kind of are flashing in between those two things, which are
And the,
beautiful science fiction things to be going back and forth from.
and the game has really been a travel log of exploration as Alexi is encountering all of these parts of the world and we're developing all of them on the fly. Um,
And
I've
by
like
and by and by encountering, we mean he's crashing into them. Like let's
literally
let's
crashing
be
into them.
real.
But like literally, I've always been always like just have enough information to try and act on because we're always entering like a new environment. We're always learning something new. And it's
Cool.
like, how cool would this world be after Alexi has literally like blazed like a comet through all of it? And we've seen, oh,
Yeah.
there's the city and there's that to play another game. Not that I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I can imagine another game where we're like, oh, we've actually built some of this world. We actually understand a little bit of the structure. And
Yeah.
now we can have a game with people that are really connected to a particular thing. And because we thought that's what Alexi was at the beginning, we thought he was connected to Ithaca, but clearly his stories go range all over,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think
and I
that's
love
an.
that.
I feel like that's an apocalypse world thing, though. You know, everything has is in the crosshairs, and so you know, yes, you have a hard hold, but you know, and yes, you might have a cult, but you also might get thrown out of that cult, or you might have a
Yeah,
gang, but they just might be too savage to control, and you know, there's all that. I think that's interesting stuff, and especially when it's done with people who trust each other, and you know, it's done in a cool way. It can be done in a way that's like, you know, it wasn't like taken from you because I'm a mean, you know, a mean patriarchal GM. It was like, you know, things escalated and got weird.
yeah, yeah. We
And,
followed the
and
fiction.
and it's also like there's also a weird traveler thing that we're also like beating our heads on, which is like in Traveler, you kind of make a character and then leave the world that they knew to go somewhere else.
Hmm.
And so we're kind of like rubbing our shoulders on that a little bit,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's cool. I like it. I like what we're doing, and I think it's neat.
yeah. Um, but yes, I am very invested in learning psychic abilities from my digital ancestors or the True Sword or any others who could teach it. So that's another
Cool.
little, that's a little wish. You know, we're not doing stars and wishes, but I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
let's do that. That would be
Sounds
very
good.
cool
I mean,
to
and,
investigate.
and and we can do that. We can. I mean, you know, we have not written Messina law, so we can say that part of a thing an advocate can do is if you say, you know, I'd like to talk to my digital ancestors, you know, they have to, like, the church has to bring someone to you.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And because the other thing I like about that is that the only people who would have digital ancestors are very rich people, right? So,
Yeah.
like, of course, that would be law. If it's like, hey, I want to talk to my digital ancestors, it's like, oh, of course you can. Um, is there anything else I can do?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, whereas other people would have a very different, you know, I imagine uh, your comrade Fenya is having a very different legal experience
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
about now.
Absolutely.
So cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's meet in a couple weeks. Actually, 2 weeks will be perfect. Next week, my dad is in town, and I'm actually taking the week off, and so I'll have a lot of time to daydream about it. And then uh,
Nice.
the week after that, yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to get back to this.
Sounds good. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Cool.
I think it's a very good sensibility. It's a very good time to like, yeah, let's do that right before all this happens. So,
Yeah,
you know who we all are. I'm Sean. Find us, watch our stuff, do our, check out our stuff. Judd, anything else you wanna show
yeah.
before we
I've
go?
got two shell things that I will shell this
Yeah.
week. I've got a podcast about half done, and I think I should get that done this weekend, and it'll go out late Sunday night, so that folks who are commuting can have it Monday morning. And then Monday afternoon, I'm going to have a blog post. No, maybe not Monday. Might be Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm writing a blog post about a really cool GMing move that I saw on Critical Role by Abria Iyengar, because I thought she did something that was really remarkable, and that was worth like taking the YouTube video, putting it in a blog post, and being like, watch this 2 minutes, and then let's talk about it. So those two things are coming this week, and I think they'll be interesting, and I hope you do too. And thank you, John, for joining us. I'm so glad that we were able to spend an evening in your living room. That sounds awesome, especially in this weird time we're in, where
Yeah.
going to our
Actual
friends' living
interviews.
rooms is a fraught affair sometimes.
Hmm.
So cool. Yeah, so those are the two things I've got brewing, and so if you are, watching the YouTube video that'll drop in a couple of days, keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks.
Fantastic. And tomorrow we're playing low cantrips with the
Oh,
low cantrips,
curse
which
you, adult life!
I
Curse
know
you!
curse the adult life keeping you busy. Gian, Luke, Jordan, and Jamie will be playing and with me, and I'm looking forward to that. It's,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. I I heard about that game, and so I emailed Sean, and I was like, I really want to play in that game. I would like to play. And then 10 minutes later, I emailed him back, and I was like, I can't play in another game. But uh, anyway, have fun. That sounds awesome. And the cool thing is that those are really amazing people, and I can't wait to see them all game together. So it is a win-win either way. Because I will get to watch that and have fun, and I'm really excited about low cantrips. I think it sounds really neat, and I'm excited to see what Luke makes and how they GM and all of it. So
yeah, it'll be.
excited.
I've played their game Shipwreckers, which was a very focused kind of game, a very focused game. Had a similar sort of vibe in that it's like let's take a PBTA. In that case, it's Forge Arc. This is PBTA, but let's take the PBTA engine and really focus it on this like childhood adolescence, this in this space that you spend a lot of time defining and then playing in. So we'll do that tomorrow night. Join us at 6:30.
Yeah, give me 1 second because I'm going to put a link into the. Nope.
You're not going to put a link in?
Wait. Oh, I started playing something and I did not mean to. If you the Luke is in the Yes Indeed podcast, and so if you want to listen to them talk about game design, the Yes Indeed podcast with Indeed spelled out like indie with a D on the end of
Oh,
it.
indeed.
Yes, indeed. Uh, so
Yes, indeed.
yes, indeed. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So YESINDIEDPOD.com. If you listen to the interview, Luke of Games from the Wild Woods, it's a really cool interview. I listened to it this week, and
Oh,
it's a
cool.
cool podcast. And Luke is a cool person to listen to talk about gaming. So
Right,
if
right.
you want a little taste of what's to come, that's a cool way to get it started.
That's a little bonus content for folks hanging around to the end of the show. All right, we'll see you all later. Take it easy.
Good night.
And now we have we're gone.
We're gone, but we're not gone. So
We're
awkward.
gone. We're not gone.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. It was
Thanks
lovely to see
all.
you.
We had a blast.